Greetings, everybody. Today I would like to talk about depression in fourth caste. Depression in fourth caste. Because depression in fourth caste is played out differently, quite differently than depression in any other castes. I just did a little research how people overcome depression, and of course, if it's something big, you need to reach out to your specialist. I'll be talking here specifically how you can do something as a self-help to overcome depression. Like I said, depression in fourth caste is played out differently, and I did a little research where I just looked what other people say, what other people do in regards to depression, because it's a big thing, especially in the United States. And the videos I come across was just like really hilarious to me, because, and I'm not like trying to put anybody down, but I just know for sure for magicians it's just not going to work. So one person was suggesting, hey, you just need to start cleaning the space, and that's how she started overcoming her depression. Or one young man, he started to just hang out with his buddy, drinking beer, watching sports, and that was the beginning factor how he started to heal his depression. And again, for different people who different things work, but I know for sure for a magician, for a person with fourth caste, it's just not an option. Probably if they could start drinking alcohol, there'll be like even a deeper depression and anxiety. So normally people with the fourth caste, they know how to catch those things, they know how to catch those feelings where it doesn't have to blow up in a whole big depression mode. But even sometimes magicians actually unpack themselves after depression. So normally underneath the depression there is some kind of a treasure, some kind of a power that magician has not tapped into yet. We have been living really challenging times for the last 3 years, and also people have their own things happening. Maybe some of you have experienced Saturn return. Plus we're having solar flares. We just shifted basically timelines. We moved into Pisces, into Aquarius. So all those things, we're like being roasted. We're just literally experiencing when things are piling up. And even really strong, spiritually strong people, like people of fourth caste, start to feeling shaky grounds and maybe even fall into depression, because they had one way of working with this reality. They had one sort of understanding how the reality works. Maybe they're manifesting and they thought like, okay, I have figured everything out, right? But just recently I've been experiencing Rahu and Ketu and Taurus and Scorpio. Especially Scorpio brought us really deep stuff. Let's be honest. And that alone could have shaken the stable grounds for a magician, that they don't understand how this reality works anymore. And maybe they thought they're doing one thing, but the outcome presents into a totally different way. And now they're sitting, they don't understand, well, how the hell I attracted this? How the hell I have manifested this? And right now they're more like in a limbo, which you may want to call a depression, where they're still trying to figure things out, how reality works. We've all been challenged with karmic lessons for the last 3 years, including magicians. And knowing magicians, they're very sensitive people. They're empaths, and they will be feeling those things on a way deeper, in a larger scale, than maybe another person will be feeling, a person from a second caste will be feeling those type of things. And by the way, if you don't know what the caste system is, I do recommend you to go back to my channel and click a video where I talk about the 4th caste of consciousness. So, overcoming depression in 4th caste won't be such as doing a very simple task, even though sometimes that it can work. I'm not just saying to not try doing simple tasks, because we still have the same like biological computer, which is this biological body and this human mind that we've been given, but the consciousness is different. So oftentimes magicians are actually not tapped, or they're not fulfilling their life's purpose. They're not doing their dharma. Maybe they're working excuse me, I almost sneezed. Maybe they're working and they're just surrounded by people at a lower consciousness, or they feeling lonely, they cannot find the right community, or they just might have experienced a really dramatic events, and where they just felt shattered and they don't know how to glue themselves back, right? Because maybe somebody died, and it's really harsh stuff, really hard things. However, I might say a very triggering thing right now, but if you look at the situation in actuality, you don't have a choice to live this life in a depressed way. If you realize the choicelessness that you have, I mean, you can live the life in depression and joy, and so that's going to produce one outcome. But then what's the point? Or you can live your life joyfully. That's really, It's not an easy thing to hear, and I understand that. And if you do need to take time, there are days where you just wake up and you feel like you don't want to do anything. That's okay. Take your time. You know, oftentimes people feel lazy or they blame themselves. Well, if you get sick, if you get cold or flu, you spend a few days in bed. You don't blame yourself for that. But if you feel depression and you feel like you don't want to do anything, and all you can do is just maybe brush your teeth, that's already alright. So, of course, take your time. But eventually, you want to be solution oriented. And normally what depression is doing is that it's life asking you for a change. Whatever that change may be. Maybe you need to change your location, you need to change your job, maybe you need to discontinue your relationships. Essentially, depression is certain energy stagnation. Your energy has become stagnant. Somewhere you have stuck. Maybe along the timeline. Somebody has died, your energy has stuck. Somebody did something to you, you stuck. Or just stuck overall at your job, but maybe you wanted to be a business entrepreneur. That's what you were going for. You expected it, but just things didn't align as you expected. And now, depression is not a solution. It's a whole another problem to your current situation. Even though we do, as people, we like to hide sometimes, right? We like to fall in addictions. Well, hopefully, we don't do that. But I do understand at the same time, especially right now, we are constantly, our psyche has been constantly stimulated. So we just don't allow ourselves to rest properly. And make sure you rest properly as well. Make sure you eat things, because oftentimes nutritional deficiencies can actually cause depression. Make sure you're taking enough vitamin B, B1, vitamin D. Make sure you don't eat like canola oil, you don't have dairy, and so on and so on. Because lack of energy can also lead to certain stagnation in life. One of the very cool things I would also recommend is to go out in nature and walk bare feet, especially if you're a woman. Because I do feel like if not every woman, but a magical woman, a witch, she always has this connection to the earth. You see, magician, we either have a connection over there, right, with ether or cosmos, if you will, or we have connection with the earth. Once we get depressed, there is no connection over here. Doesn't mean it's gone, it's absolutely gone. It requires meditation. But a lot of times when people are depressed, they don't want to meditate. So you can always go to basics. You can always go to basics and start reconnecting with earth magic. Draw some energy from the earth. Walk bare feet. Maybe gardening. Maybe picking up herbs. Whatever, however you want to connect with the earth element. And also doing your dharma, Doing your dharma is absolutely essential. Doing your life mission. Again, if you have not watched my video when I talk about the importance of fulfilling your life mission, I do recommend you watching that video. And whatever that may be, if you don't know what you would like to do, if you don't know your soul purpose, what you came here to do, I also offer readings. You don't have to go with me, but it's important to understand what your qualities are. What are the skill set that you have already came into this planet. Important to remember your lifetimes. I also have video on that, on remembering your past lifetime, because maybe you have thousands of years when you were a priest. 1,000 years, I mean totally 1,000 of years, and you have maybe a plenty of knowledge, but you just need to unpack that. Whatever those qualities may be, they need to be unpacked, they need to be unloaded during perhaps these times. And normally you already know what the universe is telling you, what is trying to tell you, what is it pushing you to do in your current situation. Maybe it's taking care of yourself emotionally. Maybe somebody has offended you. Maybe you need to rediscover your self-worth. You see, we're magicians. That's the paradoxical topic for me, because magicians are such a evolved beings, but oftentimes they're also sort of timid, I should say. They oftentimes actually have lack of that self-confidence, not like second and third caste have. If they're showing themselves, like there's a lot of Manipura energy, right? There's a lot of this what's it called, Svadhisthana energy, right? The sexual energy. So it's really powerful. But oftentimes, people more with the subtle senses, all the energy is somewhere here, maybe somewhere in the heart, which is softer, which is a more subtle dimension. So it's important to balance those energies. It's important to do certain practices where you can also ground your energy in those lower centers as well. But I'm not going to go into depth of that. And so oftentimes magicians, they're timid to show themselves, to actually realize that just your presence alone on this planet is so valuable right now. You don't even have to do anything. You don't have to heal anybody. But just the fact that you maybe show up in a family dinner, just your presence alone can be very healing to people. You may not even utter a word, or maybe you say such a small tiny sentence that it can just alter another person's life in such a scale, in such a degree, that you probably won't even know about it. You become meditative. Maybe your neighbor suddenly becomes meditative, or they would say, hey, I actually heard you're listening maybe like a mantra's music. What is that mantra? I want to listen to that too. Or I love your presence. It feels so calm. It feels so nurturing. So as a magician, you don't really need to even worry about your self-worth, because we are so worthy. We're so worthy. If you could just see the worth you have right now on this planet at this point in time, you will be amazed. And plus, if you can unpack your gift, if you just show your light to others, that would be invaluable, because only you can bring that into the world. Okay? Well, I hope it helped you, and if you know if somebody might be suffering from depression, if you think this video may help them, I would ask you to please share with them, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.